G'day guys, Enno here. Welcome back to the channel. Um, got week 9 of SportsDeck and how we went. So pretty low scoring week for most people. Just ticked over the 400 mark. Got 408, and honestly, that was better than most. That was what only about 300 through the week. Moved me up about 50 spots, and there was a lot of poor scores. There was a couple on buy, so you had to manoeuvre your way around that. I think I had Terry on buy, which I held. Um, and yeah, it just wasn't a great week overall for the whole league. In fact, I mean, there was about 5 upsets. Bills were terrible, um, and a few other upsets. Giants winning. Yeah, it's not really an upset to me, but um, yeah. So we'll get into the team and how we went, and yeah, how we're going to move forward from here. There's still a few buys left, so you got to be careful of, and something I'll have to deal with this week. Down in the kicker position, so the big quarterbacks. I just don't know what's going wrong. I've brought in Mahomes about 3 weeks ago, and to be fair, they were already sort of struggling, but it hasn't looked any better the last couple of weeks. The thing is, they've been winning. They beat us by a field goal, and they just snuck past the Packers without Rodgers, so it hasn't been pretty. The offense has not looked good and continues to struggle. Um, and yeah, I expected it to turn around at some point. Whether that's this year or it may take another year, who really knows? I just don't think I can hold on to Mahomes too much, but I'll get into that in a bit. And Josh Allen was absolutely dreadful. 5 field goals in that game, not a single touchdown, and they lost to the Jags, which is just horrendous. Um, yeah, I mean the fact you watch Red Zone, you don't really get to see much of a game like that because yeah, there's plenty of other things going on, and when a game only has 5 field goals, they don't really show you much. I mean, I only really saw his couple of picks that he had and the fumble. But other than that, I don't really know why they struggled so much. But hopefully that's just a one-off. They looked pretty good up until that game. So yeah, I mean, I traded him in this week. I got him out, got Hurts out for him, and had the VC on him. And after the poor performance, I just kept the C on Mahomes, and we only got 20 out of both of them. So it was a pretty poor week. And then the other one man I brought in was Tyrod on the bench there for T Law. So he looks really bad too, but he'd been out a while. So hopefully that was just sort of first game back, sort of rust. And look, we don't really require Tyrod to play for us, I don't think. So it's more just a bit of bench cover in case of an injury. But he's got the bye this week, so hopefully the boys play. JT, what an absolute beast. I mean, I know it's the Jets, but he's been on an absolute tear for about 4 or 5 weeks now. Another couple touchdown game. Huge run again, had like a 70-yard touchdown, which is unreal. But yeah, for me, if you played Dynasty or actual fantasy football, Dynasty's where you pretty much keep your whole roster year to year. I know there's keeper leagues, but Dynasty, you literally draft your team in one season whenever you start, and you keep the roster every year. The only way you get players is through your rookie draft every year, and then trading between teams. But for me, JT is almost a running back one in Dynasty. If not, he's number 2 or 3. That is as low as I'd have him as 3. But for me, honestly, he's almost running back one. I know CMC still exists, but we haven't seen a lot of him recently. Saquon's been injured. I don't see anyone else above him in Dynasty right now. He's still super young, and he's already shown he can do it. So yeah, JT's awesome. Spew and I just didn't have the VC on him for this week because it would have been a big rankings boost. Najee, a man who honestly is up there as well. He's been unbelievable this year, getting all the work. So just another solid 30 from him. Darrell Henderson really hasn't been the amazing trade and I thought he was. The Rams really struggled. He's only had the one big game since I brought him in about 3 weeks ago. So he's definitely on the chopping block, but one I might just have to hold for one more week. And then Javonte, I didn't choose to trade Derek this week. I sort of wanted to get a look at CMC, which again I'll talk about in a bit, but just held him on the bench, and Javonte's been pretty good this year. If he could just get the full-time role, it'd be amazing. But with the limited carries he's getting, he's shown he's got a a lot on the table that he can show probably into next year. Cooper Cup again, no touchdown, but just solid floor from him. The clear wide receiver one this season, which is crazy, but it's definitely true with the struggles that the next two guys have had. Devontae Adams, I wouldn't say he's been completely struggling, but um, he just hasn't found the end zone as much as he did last year, which, to be fair, it was crazy. I think it was 20 touchdowns, maybe 21 last year, which is stupid. But he had Jordan Love this week, of course. So, yeah, with Rodgers going out with COVID, you expected him to get fed a lot, and it didn't really happen until about the third quarter. So, disappointing score, but hopefully Rodgers is back this week and he can bounce on. And Tyreek, it's just been like Mahomes. They've just been really up and down, and to be honest, more down than up. It's just that he's really up games have been huge to sort of keep his average around what it is. So, um, you're not trading him out, but it's just been a bit disappointing that they haven't been able to click for a while now. And Cordarrelle's been a great trade. I sort of expected to get rid of him at some point. I still think I might eventually, but at this point, he's not. He's not a point of emphasis. Especially with Ridley going out for mental health, he's just going to continue to be one of the big targets in that offense. So he's sticking around. Diggs, this is all it's been from Diggs all year. Just sort of, I know they didn't score a touchdown, and you still got that's a decent floor for a game which they actually struggle in. So you take that, but pretty disappointing. Just hasn't lived up to the absolute dominance that he had last year. I think he was wide receiver 3 last year, and he's still I think he's around the top 10 or 12, but just not that height that he was last year. So another one that's been a little bit underwhelming. And then, funnily enough, I owned the two highest scoring wide receivers in SportsDeck this week. I don't know about fantasy, but in SportsDeck, and that was Devonta Smith and Elijah Moore. And one of them had to be on my bench because I obviously wasn't starting both. But Terry on bye, he was obviously on the bench. And Friday, I'm watching Elijah Moore score 2 touchdowns. I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. I got Devonta on the field, who I actually had Elijah on because Corey Davis was out, and I did some trades and reversed it and forgot to swap it back. And I was spewing. And then Devonta Smith, even half time of his game on the weekend, Philly looked bad, and they've been struggling. Besides against the Lions, but yeah, he had a huge second half, Devontae, and I think he had 130 yards and a touchdown. So yeah, escaped there, pretty lucky in the end. But funny that I had the two highest scoring wide receivers, and they're both rookies, and one of them had to be on my bench. Kelsey found the end zone after a few down weeks himself, so that was good to see. Again, he's still tight end one, and there really hasn't been much else going on in the position. Pitts had a bitty average week, but we fielded him over Hawk. Hawk had the bye, so who I field there going forward will just maybe depend on matchup. I still probably think it's Pitts for the most part, but it's probably going to be an annoying one where you field the wrong one each week, but we'll see. McPherson, it's a kicker, whatever. He got 8 points, but we're going to have to trade him this week if we want a score in that position. And the defense, the Rams, yeah, just after that good one against the Giants, they really haven't done much lately, especially stopping teams. They had that game against the Texans where they're up so much they sort of put in the backups, and the Texans scored a few junk time touchdowns, which brought the score down. So that's disappointing. But again, something I didn't look at, which is bad on my part. They both have the same bye, these two teams. So look, maybe we trade there to avoid a donut there as well. But I think that's in a couple of weeks we'll have to look at. So that's a team. And the 3 points of contention, or couple I'll talk about, is Mahomes. And I don't think I can hold on to him. The slump is real. It really is real. They cannot connect on a deep shot. He's not taking the easy stuff. He's just playing just really recklessly at the moment. And it's kind of worrying. In SportsDeck, I've got his average there. It's 22 over 3 weeks, which is pretty poor for a quarterback. Funnily enough, he's still thrown 20 touchdowns on the year, but it's a double-digit interceptions. The turnovers that are just absolutely killing him. And he has the bye in week 12, which is only a couple of weeks away. So we were going to have to either play Tyrod or trade him then anyway. I'm thinking I might just jump out now before he dips further and jump on a more informed guy. So I'll get to the team in a sec, but that's my thoughts with him. I just think I might have to jump off. As disappointing as it's been. Um, and I think Josh Allen was just, I know it was the first week I had him, but that was just a blip, and they get another easy matchup this week. So, yeah, I think Mahomes is one I'll have to trade, but just depends on what I think is more important. And then the Derrick Henry replacements. Look, I know a lot of you probably did trade him out last week, maybe to jump on a JT or an Eckler or Kamara. I didn't. I sort of wanted a week to look at McCaffrey, see how he went. He only played about half the game, half the snaps, and he looked okay. He got 100 scrimmage yards, about 50 on the ground, 50 through the air. So he looked okay. Um, but yeah, I think look, if you don't have JT, he's a number one guy in the best form. Gets the Jags this week, gets them again in week 18, and also gets the Texans during his schedule. And like I said at the start, he's got the highest 3 and 5 week average, and it's been the most informed running back. So I think if you don't have him, and you still have Derek, you probably did the swap last week, but that's the number one I would do. Then we've got I'll go to Eckler next. They had a couple of down weeks before the bye, and then he had an okay. They had a really good game out of the bye actually, and then just another down week sort of for him. Just for him personally, I know they got the win just over Philly, but Eckler didn't find the end zone and was just used sparingly. It was a big day for Keenan Allen. So look, he's another option. One I'm certainly looking at. They have a fairly good schedule on the run home. So if I was to get someone this week, I already have JT. I think it would be Eckler. Someone I wanted to start the year with, couldn't because of the hamstring. Then he went nuts. Then I couldn't sort of go CMC to him because they had the bye at about week 7. So I do want to own Eckler at one stage, and it might be the one that I get for Derek. Then we'll go to CMC. Now he looked, yeah, like I said, okay, but he does still have a really high break even. It's 88, so you can still monitor him for one more week. Get a look at how he goes again. He's obviously been very sort of prone to injury the last couple of years, so you may not want to be jumping on the gun too quick. So getting another look at him might be really beneficial. And whether I'll speak about it later, but I might get an Eckler first, have another look at McCaffrey, and then get him for someone else the next week might be the way to go. And then Kamara, you can't really ever forget about Kamara. He's unbelievable player. It's just more the situation at hand, with Winston going down for the year. Simeon's been the one to start he took over and then started last week. Taysom was sort of under a concussion protocol, but he was available and did play on a couple snaps, but he wasn't the starting quarterback. So is that a better thing for Kamara? I think it almost is, but it's tough because I still believe Taysom will play at some point. I don't know. It's tough. And not to mention he's under a bit of an injury cloud this week with a bit of a knee. They're saying it's day to day. He probably gets up, but just something to monitor. So yeah, that's a bit of my thoughts on them. Now we'll get to my actual team, and sort of my dilemma on what to do. So I've got about 4.5 mil in the bank. Terry will come on for Devonta this week, and the thing we sort of are forced to deal with is the kicker buy. Is a bit annoying, but Evan hasn't been the greatest or the highest scoring kicker. So maybe it's a chance to get someone in who's a bit more set and forget. You believe the Bills will turn it around. I know you spending up on a kicker is a bit dodgy, but there's plenty of decent options here from good teams. Tucker, Matt Gay for the Rams. The Pats kicker's been pretty good, Nick Folk. So look, the kicker's a kicker at the end of the day. It's sort of just trading him to avoid the donut. If you want to go someone cheaper, you don't really have to go up to the top. Any of these guys are fine. Look, they're all averages about 17 to 20. It's an unpredictable position. If money's a factor, money's a factor. So if I was to do that, it leaves me about 15 mil for a quarterback. I do have enough for Kyler Murray if he's back this week, which is definitely an option. He looked really, really good until his injury. But the issue is he has a bye as well, week 12. So it sort of just makes it just not ideal to bring him in. Um, Matt Stafford is another option. They haven't had their bye either. It's in week 11, so it sort of kills that idea. Um, Tom Brady, honestly, I've really thought about it. Off a bye, every other team really seems to be struggling. Even the top teams, have had a down week here and there. I guess they did before the bye against the Saints, but he still scored unreal. It was a late loss, and they get a fairly easy schedule. The thing is, they're playing the NFC East, which is Washington next week, then my Giants. Um, they've already played the other two teams, but India being pretty good. At Atlanta, that's an easy game. Buffalo defense usually pretty good. Saints, it's probably the team he struggles against, but then they finish with Carolina twice, the Jets. It's a really, really nice schedule coming off the bye. Um, so it's definitely one I've thought about. And the other one's Lamar. Lamar is just unbelievable off the bye, played really well. Um, Against Miami this week, who haven't been great at all. Against Chicago, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, obviously his division, so yet to play those teams. Green Bay, the Rams at the end. So it's not the greatest schedule. There's some tough defenses in there. But Lamar's Lamar. He's been playing really well, sort of under the radar this year as well. So that's an option if I'm dipping off Mahomes this week. Whereas the other one would be to obviously still deal with Evan and I'll just get in Bass again. Won't really matter. But then trade Derek and go to probably an Eckler. Which I actually make money from this trade quite a bit. Obviously, Derek is still holding his value because he's not playing. But down to an Eckler, get another 4 mil. Do a trade like this. Um, Obviously, field Eckler this week. Which look, I have a decision to make probably between Henderson and Javonte because Javonte's been quite good. They get Philly this week, which is pretty nice matchup. And the Rams get San Fran, which again, I think San Fran's a good matchup too. They've been pretty horrible. So I'd probably just stick with that. You get the basis score. You stick with the two QBs. Got to stick with Mahomes another week. They do get the Raiders, which it's not a bad matchup. I'm fine with that. But then next week, that would leave me with enough cash to go Henderson up to CMC. Because if we look at McCaffrey with that break even, still up at 88. If he drops, what does it predicted score of about 37.40, he still drops another almost 2 mil down to about 12 point something. So I'd have more than enough to do Henderson to McCaffrey. Henderson's break even about 25, so that's fine. And then I'd still even have enough cash to possibly go Mahomes up to someone, but he will drop again, I suspect, with that 60 break even. So I'm just spitballing here. I think I relieve my receivers, Terry off the bye. Hopefully they can figure something out. Tampa Bay secondary isn't the greatest, so maybe you can do some damage there. I know they did last year in the playoff game, but that's a bit of what I'm thinking. Do I ditch Derek this week, or just wait and get another look at McCaffrey, or do I just ditch off Mahomes, just get off that train before it collides, and especially with the bye, having to eventually trade him in a couple of weeks anyway, it might be worth just jumping off now. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Give me a tweet what you think I should do or what you're doing this week. That's sort of what I'm thinking. Obviously, if I keep the big boys, Allen's got a nice VC against the Jets coming up. You should think they should bounce back and get a nice score there. And then, yeah, just Mahomes plays last, or maybe a JT plays at the same time as Allen. So against the Jags, it might be a nice matchup too. Quickly finish. I haven't sort of updated on a bit here, but the home league got another dub, 7-2. I think I lost 2 of my last 4. So after the hot start, dropped a few, but got back on the winners list here. Lamar sort of carried me here with another huge score against his Herbert, kept me in check. Bobby Woods sort of went even all round here. So at the end of the day, Sam Darnold's just turned to absolute crap. Wish I sort of traded him at his value when he was going well at the start of the year, but that's probably my number one problem is quarterback 2 here. Rest of the team's looking nice. obviously these two running backs here, Booker and Williams, will Booker probably Giants bye this week. Sack's probably back, so he's probably done for now. He's looked really good though. And Darrell Williams, Clyde's probably a longer way away, but probably get a few more starts out of him. But luckily he got Monty back this week off IR. Should get Antonio Brown back this week. Ayuk's starting to look really good. With Debo a bit banged up. Still got Tony there, and then yeah, it's more the quarterback two situation. Having to start, well, Darnold's definitely out, so having to start either Seaman or if I pick up PJ Walker is not going to be great, but just that's what you got to deal with. So if just got into the ladder, I'm sitting about third. Top three guys of us are now 7-2. Then there's a gap to fourth, 5-4, and then match up this week. I did pick up Dennis Johnson off waivers just in case Chubb doesn't play. A sort of a 1 week start against a New England defense. Not the best matchup, but that's okay. Then hopefully get these guys back, and yeah, might have to start Simeon. So not the best. Monty's on bye. That's where we sort of sit. So obviously should make playoffs from here. Just hope to stick around and maybe get the top two, so you get the bye the first week. And yeah, that's where I sit. So thanks for watching, guys. Always, hit me on Twitter with any questions. Still undecided on those trades, just whether I ditch Mahomes or Derek this week. It is stupid. It's probably sitting a lot of money on the bank with Derek, but when there's a guy like McCaffrey out there that if he looks fine and looks really good this week, you want to jump on, it's probably worth having a plan for. So thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys next week.